Hello, good evening, and welcome to round 7 Misano for the Slip Grip GT4 Championship. The guys are all just heading out to do their qualifying session. It will be a 20-minute session, and the forecast is more of the same, clear weather. We'll be bringing the action throughout the evening as we watch 14 cars this week, a little better than the 5 that we ended up with last week. The guys back from the 24-hour Spa. As we watch Mcgee head out to start his session. Let's get you a proper broadcasting overlay. There we go. And camera set to give a wider angle. There we go. Then they hammer out onto the circuit. The track already showing as optimum and 31 degrees in temperature. Joining me this evening in the chat. Hello, good evening. Nice to see you there. Good to know that I'm not talking to myself. If you are there, please do remember to give the stream a like. It will help. It will help us get seen and might draw a few more people in. I'll search on Google as well for Slip and Grip Discord. Slip and Grip Simracing Discord. Come and get involved. So, quick look on the old track map. The first car out will be the car number 1, and I believe that is Joe Challoner. There he is. So Joe will be the first car to start a flying lap. Saw him last week doing well in the Alpine. Picked up some good points. Nothing to do with the fact that a lot of the competition wasn't present. So Joe heads down into turn 1, rotates the car. Good bit of rotation there, almost sliding through mid on entry to the next corner. Feeds it through the right-hander, deceptively tightens again after getting wider, and then into a fairly tight hairpin. We'll get a few dives there this evening, I'm sure. Through the second part of that section, across the first sector line, and then out onto probably the first of 2 straights. Hander then uphill, braking through the right hander. There we go. And then tightens again, eventually. There we go. Gets the car stopped a little short, but gets it rotated and heads down now what is probably the back straight, the larger of the non-start finish straights. Rather fast right-hander, then another hairpin. Misano, a variety of different corners and different cornering speeds there. Through the final turn, don't invalidate it on the exit. Some car push on a little, but there we go. Across the line, so the first of the pros to do a lap, a 44.8 for Joe. He's followed across the line by Ash Wooten, 2.3 off of his time. Wellborn's come through and has beaten Joe's time by 0.9. Andrew, one of the guys that was out watching the Spa 24 last week, good to have him back in. Good to have a normal field back in. Ryan Ware just ahead of Andrew, so a good pace marker there for Andy. Out the way, he's going to go. Oh no, he does continue. He just doesn't want to give Andy that toe. Saw in the background Mcgee starting to tuck up behind another driver. I believe that's John Walker just ahead. Number 14 is indeed John Walker. So it looks like Mcgee is actually validated his first, so he'll be pushing on. Should get quite a nice toe off John in his McLaren. amount of curb through that section. Car slowed down. John running a little wide. Matt with a neater line. Later apex there for Matt. Goes right up onto the back of John. So is that going to be a hindrance, or can he use that to his advantage? He's really, really close on the back of John. Has to brake early to ensure he doesn't run into the back of him, but power nice and early, but a little wayward on exit. And it's actually enough for the fastest lap so far, 43.5, being towed around by John. Let's see if John can improve again. There we go, he's pushing the limits in that McLaren. A bit of apex speed out of there, but is he able to close up onto the back of Andy Wellborn? Andrew on an outlap there, weaving the Alpine. That's not going to help John's efforts. Bunching up into the hairpin now. I think that was the Mars car of Ashwood. There he is off the left hand side, back to pits. John not currently improving, he's 0.4 down. Ryan Ware is just heading across the start finish line, potentially for a pole lap. He is, so he dispatches Mcgee, who is still on an outlap. Alex Mcgee now looking to improve 0.7, so could take him up to third place. Goes in the Domino's livery Janetta. Yeah, absolutely is enough for third. Then just behind, Ash Copeland has jumped up for fourth, so the track definitely coming in. Oh, as we dive into the gravel. So can Andrew Wellborn improve? He's equaling his delta and we're about 40 seconds into this lap, so we'll just stick with Andy, see if he can move up at all. Quite the gap between Andrew and Joe. Not far off a second's gap, so Joe will be looking to improve. A couple of guys are green on their delta, so could improve. The tow from John was quite beneficial for Matt, however, he has got some good raw pace without being towed along. Doesn't look, unless he finds a lot in this last sector, it doesn't look like this is going to be the lap, especially understeering out like that. So not quite got the front end he needed on that Alpine. That's got a good livery on it though. Does look the part. I apologise. No, I don't. Do I? No, I don't. Ryan was top. I don't know if it was Alex Mcgee that improved, so Ryan not improving on... Oh, he did improve slightly. I'm not very good at this. There's a number of them halfway between runs as we head down to the halfway point on time. Ryan improved slightly. Mcgee is 3 seconds down, so he's bailed on this lap. Alex Mcgee third place in that Janetta currently. Just coming through the first section of the lap, now through the tighter right-hander. Alex actually one of the silver drivers, so breaking up the pros slightly. Really good pace. Smart speaker in the background deciding to join in. Joe Challoner looks to be improving at the moment. Little sideways off the corner there. That's where we saw Andrew with a big sideways moment earlier. Currently 0.6 up, so we'll close the gap slightly, but maybe not enough to challenge Andrew at the moment. Final turn, carrying good speed, pushing his luck. Barely still on the track, but from 1.4 behind to 0.8 behind. Parks it up. Express Legal Services on the door. A bit of screen time there, Joe. These bunch running together. I don't know if this is quali or race practice. Excuse me, still recovering from COVID. So where's Chris Monroe? Ah, good, we've got more spam in the chat. Love it. Right, Chris Monroe, where are you? Here you are. So leading that little train we were just watching, at number 3, Camaro. Joe's closed onto the back a little bit. Chris pushing towards the pro times. He's jumped some of the silver guys, so it's real mix up on this field. Some of the car strength, some of the driver's strength, all to in and froing compared to previous weeks where we've seen exact splits through the different classifications. Rather close between Chris and Tom Lyons. I think Tom's on an outlap in his Ginetta. Yeah, there he is, just ahead, so he's chasing down John. Here comes Dave Rose. Oh, we've got Ashwood as well. Ash is improved as well. 3.8 off. It looks like a 0.7 improvement. Guys in the Aston Martins just towards the tail end of the field. Ash would have improved, but it was invalidated. And Dave did improve, so he's not far off Mark Samuel now. Mark's just done a 4:38, so he's been on a pit stop and outlap. 6.5 minutes to go. No one really moving. Looking at the times, nothing particularly to watch. Just watch Ryan through. So you've got the Aston Martins topping and tailing the field. Onto the curb, using every inch of the track, nice and settled on the way out of that turn. It's going to be close to a PB. Yeah, it just shaves a little bit off. So extending that gap to Matty J somewhat, who is 0.3 down on his best, so unless he gets an incredible run out this last turn, which he did claw back a little bit of time, but he's 0.1 down, 0.2 off overall. John Walker looks like he's in. John Walker didn't break for that hairpin, so where he was improving on the way in, he's then lost all that time on the way out. Might be a slight improvement overall, just a little bit more to find for John. Here we go. So it was a 45.075. Yeah, that was a 45.1 on that last lap. So John's close, just a couple more braking zones to just reel in, and he'll find where that McLaren wants to be sitting and claw himself ahead of the likes of Monroe and Lyons. Tom in the background pushing on in the number 19 Ginetta. A couple of guys down the front look like they're improving a little. Ash Copeland is up to 3rd, so I've missed that, sorry. Sorry Ash, I missed that on your last lap. Ash is actually 0.5 up, so this could be a pole position for Ash. Just got to hook it up. He's kept it nice and tidy. It's a 0.6 improvement. Ash has been on a flyer on the last, and he's now on a flyer. He's taken it down into the 42, so fantastic there. That lap for Ash. Really got that positive perception Porsche where he needed it to be. He did it in front of a smaller audience last week against fewer cars, but Ash is now absolutely flying in that Porsche. Pushes on a little bit there. Then we've got Ryan's currently improving, Wellborn's improving. There's a lot of green deltas going on, although the track was optimum from the start. It is evolving now. The guys all finding their feet. 3 minutes and 40 left on the clock. Joe's looking like an improvement too. I believe Tom Lyons has just improved, so he's jumped Chris Monroe. He's nearly onto Ross Parker's times. Just stick with Joe a moment. Some more movement further down. Mark's improved as well. So Mark Sanyo up to 10. There's Joe Challoner. He's lost his delta. Yeah, not improving on that time of asking. He was... it was actually invalidated. It would have been 0.03 faster. Andrew Wellborn improves, goes ahead of Alex Mcgee up to 4th. Johnston and Copeland now. Copeland. Ash Copeland. Not Copeland, that's Josh. Where's Ryan? There's Ryan. He closes right in on Ash, 0.005, so those guys trading times. Ash is back in the pits though, and Ryan is going again. Let's see how he gets on. Alex Mcgee now, final turn, 0.2 up. 0.2 would be challenging Johnston and Wellborn, who are rather close. Yep, so Alex jumps back up to 3rd. It's now pressure on for Matty J, who is on an outlap, and Andrew Wellborn, who is on a flyer, so pressure's on. Can Andrew improve by even 0.003 just to jump ahead of Johnston? The time's all really close. 3rd, 4th and 5th, but 1st and 2nd as well, 0.005. Andrew getting a tow at the moment from Ash Wootton. However, Ash is 4.2 off the pace currently, so Andrew will be conscious that he doesn't actually want to catch him, but do you sacrifice this lap for a cleaner one next lap, or do you keep pushing with this one? Well, he's 0.1 up at the moment, so he's got potential to go for 3rd. Ash a little wide off that turn, but it will give Andrew a tow. Hopefully he doesn't push on to the final corner. There we go, millimetre perfect on that. Got a good run out the final turn. Does indeed jump Andrew up to 3rd place, as we were just saying. Ash has backed out of it, so he's back to pits. A number of drivers have only a minute on the clock back to the pits. Andrew can go again, Alex Mcgee can go again, Johnston still on that outlap, so he's going to start a flyer with the track at its best. Joe Challoner now improving. It's only by 0.1, so he needs to find 0.7 to challenge Johnston and Mcgee. Wellborn back to the pits now. Breaking through that first right hander and then narrowing in for the second. Becomes more of a hairpin, unwind the steering, use a bit of that exit curve. There it goes, just brushes it. A little far back from the Porsche to get a tow, but that's okay. He's got some clean air. He's found half a second so far. Fast right-hander, yellow flag ahead. There's a car off to the left. Can he keep it tucked in? Not quite. Joe runs wide. That will be invalidated. He was 0.5 up. He was going for everything. That's qualifying over. The timer has ticked to 0, so these guys won't get another opportunity to improve. So the question is, where is Matty J? Heading down the back straight now. 0.1 down. That's recoverable. He can find that in the last sector. Some of the guys are half a second a lap faster. Alex Mcgee just behind. He's neutral on his time, so where Matt could improve, so could Alex, the last 2 cars on the circuit. Matt's got it rotated where we saw the Alpine push on. We've seen that twice this evening now already. See you in the chat, Ant. There we go then, final time for Matt. He's 0.2 down. He's going to push and try and take everything he can through there. He's fast on the way in, he's equalled his delta. Not sure if he's gained anything on the way out, not quite, so he's with normal 1 off. Here comes Alex Mcgee. Matt's the only driver to take the checkered flag, everyone else has just parked it. Not an improvement there for Alex Mcgee, but a very good showing nonetheless. Maintains that 4th place. Oh no, it was an improvement, sorry, but he maintained his position. Ash, that's 2 weeks on the bounce.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't sound too happy about it. That's really good showing. Got pole position against the 14.
Sorry, go on.
Right, that's it.
No, I don't know. I just seemed to hook it up on that lap. I've been nowhere near them times in all of practice, so I don't expect to be that fast in the race. I think it's maybe a bit of a fluke lap, but we'll see.
I saw the end of it, saw the delta glowing a nice bright green with 0.6 on it, and yeah, it took a huge step forward. But you know, you say it's a bit of a fluke lap. You don't know how everyone else's race setups compare. You're more in the groove. A lot of these guys weren't racing last week. You've
yeah, maybe.
Got the seat time.
Like I say, we'll see. Just see how the first few laps go, and then try and set into a rhythm then.
Absolutely, no, that's great. Good. I'll let you get the car ready. See if you want to make any tweaks for the race, but hopefully speak to you at the end, Ash. Well done on pole.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Cheers, bye.
I love how everyone ends it like a phone call. Yeah, speak to you later. Cheers, bye. Right then. Should we talk to Mr. Wellborn? Andy jumping up to 3rd place there in the closing moments.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
We were just saying, didn't realise I was doing interviews, sorry.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
I just talk to
Yeah,
random
no,
people.
why not
It's fine.
indeed.
I'm by myself this week. It's nice to have some human interaction. All I've got is spam bots and Ant Brown. No offence, Ant. Yeah.
Bloody spam.
Looks like it's the Alpine pushes on a little bit through some of the faster corners. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I've not worked on the setup like religiously or anything. I've just kind of got a base setting that I've just tweaked a little bit, but yeah, it is understeering. But I don't know. I say I haven't had time to really try and dial it in. But I think the car tends to understeer a little bit anyway from just my previous running of it. Whether Joe has a completely different setup, I don't know.
No, you and Joe both were pushing on in the same places. It became quite apparent through quali. The fast right-hander before the hairpin near the end of the lap.
Yes.
So
yeah,
it was there. We saw both cars, but no, third place on quali. You got a rather fast silver Alex Mcgee in 4th, but
yeah. I mean that was my my fastest lap by a decent margin in the GT4 around here, so I was quite happy with that. I wasn't really expecting to be anywhere near Ryan, to be honest. Like the last couple of times he's raced, I've been near a second off him, so 3/10. So then, yeah, Ash pulled a lap out the bag as well. Like, he's normally sort of there or thereabouts near the front, but yeah, I think even he was surprised with his pole time. But
yeah, he definitely was. He definitely was.
Yeah.
You've got the favourable inside line for the run down to turn 1.
Yeah, we'll see if we can potentially make a move on Ryan through that section. Hopefully get a good start, and I'm sort of inside, outside. If I can hang it round the outside on turn 2, then I should be okay from the rest of that complex and get ahead. It's just a case of whether I can attack Ash then, or whether I'll just be defending from Ryan. I think it's going to be one of those races really. Every time you do look to mech an attack, you're going to be looking in your mirror at the same time. So we'll see. I'll just try and keep it steady really. I'd like to try and beat Ryan if I can. We'll see what Ash has got in terms of race pace, and then I would imagine Mcgee is probably going to be quick as well. I don't think we saw perhaps his greatest lap. I mean, it certainly wasn't a bad lap, but you know what he's like in a race situation. He always finds that little bit extra.
I do indeed. I do indeed. So it's two 40-minute races tonight, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, no mandatory pit stop, so we should be just, well, more or less sprint racing all the way through the evening. So hopefully it will be nice and close for you. A few more cars on the grid this week. Now we're not all in Spa.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's we're on for a good one. No, good stuff. I'll let you get the car where you need it to. Good to talk. Hopefully get to talk to you at the end. Cheers, Andy.
Yeah. No worries. Cheers, Tom.
Right. So let's get this all sorted and ready to go. Got the broadcasting tool up. We're all good. I think normally the tradition is helicam. We'll kind of watch from where Andrew is, so we know he's starting third when they all bunch up. Go from there. Do let me know if you're still in the chat, let me know if you're there, and let me know if anyone else has joined. It's always good to know who you're streaming to. They're at coming out of the penultimate turn. Gonna head through this left-hander, and then we'll go flying down to the right. Ash on pole, Ryan in second place. Mcgee always starts well. Watch for him. Look how far forward he is compared to Joe. He's right on the bumper of Andy. Alex Mcgee moves across. It's going to be the long way around for Ryan, but yeah, Alex Mcgee got this jump on Andy. Pushes towards the back of the Porsche, leaves room for Andrew on the inside. So Andrew's now looking at defence, understeer for the Porsche. It'll be the long way round for the Aston Martin. And Ryan at the front, it is possible. He's had a good run off of there. Billboard maintaining third. Looks like we've had a bit of a disaster further back. He got another Porsche down the inside of Mcgee. One car damaged further back, two cars out the back, Stephen Poe and John Walker in the pit. Ashworth also involved. Where are we? Back down the front, so Ryan Ware has got ahead of Ash Copeland. Andrew Wellborn maintaining that third place. Mcgee. Start of Joe looking to the inside, that's half defensive, half attacking as Mcgee looms in the Mercedes. He will go, as Andy said, from strength to strength. Right, your timing table has now settled down. We've got Stephen Cole off the back, come out the pit. Is that a run from Mcgee? Doesn't quite look like it. Joe pushing on, it's that corner where we've seen the Alpine struggle. Matt looks to the inside, he does get it stopped better than the Alpine. Joe will have to run off the corner further back. Tom Lyons is attacking Chris Monroe. They've settled down for a moment. We did just miss. There you go, Matt squared Joe up onto the last corner. Just slipped that Mercedes down the inside, so Matt's up to fifth. He'll soon go chasing after Alex Mcgee. Back down the front, Andrew keen to get past Ash. He wants to go chasing after Ryan. Matt wide in the background, that would count as a cut track potentially, so another factor to be careful of this evening. The cut tracks on this track are out to get you. Don't say much about Ross this evening in the black and red Porsche. See Andy down the front getting ever closer to Ash, but now Ross looks like he's coming under pressure from Chris Monroe. Just currently second in the silvers. Tom Lyons both feeding through behind Ross. We'll see how that develops. Joe might even have a run on Matt here. He looks a little neater out the turn, but wasn't to be. Andrew able to brake a little later than Ash. Big chunk of the inside curve. I'm not sure how strict it is through there. At the hairpin we go, both equally composed. Track here and get it stopped. Make sure you get it turned in. Good chunk of curve from Andy that fed through a little better than the Porsche. Andrew there with the fastest lap of the race so far. 44.1. We obviously saw much faster than the quali session, but they're all at race weight now with 36 minutes in. Hi Luca. Good to see you in the chat. Don't forget to give us an old thumbs up. Andrew looks to the inside. It was a hesitant move. He has got it stopped, but the cut back there. Ash saw him coming. Ash maintained in that place. Ross has been hit. So did Chris just not quite get it stopped? There we are. Oh, it's from a long way back. It's Tom. Tom Lyons comes through and causes a bit of a pile up. Ross has got going again. Tom's ahead, so should really give that place back. Dave Rose and then Mark's just down the road in 8th place. So Mark's come from a long way back and has kept his nose clean. Meanwhile, down the front, Ash being a little off the pace of Ryan down the front is allowing these guys to all kind of bunch back up again. Matt's gone from a defence against Joe after getting the place. He's now full attack mode. He's going after Alex Mcgee, as Andy said. We're all aware of Matt's race pace, and he'll just churn out these slightly faster laps, and he'll keep pushing on. Wellborn, there, you see him not quite able to get through on the Porsche. Is it going to be a run into the last turn? He shows his nose, but not enough of an overlap. You see Alex diving forward in the Ginetta, just behind, so he closes in on braking. The gap back from Wellborn to Mcgee was 0.6, now 0.4, so these gaps getting ever closer, but he's just allowing Ryan down the front to pull away. Ash went into this knowing he was slightly slower. Andrew hesitant there. Is it going to be a dive? He did it last lap and Ash got the pace back. He's better on the brakes, he's later in. Here comes the Ginetta, they're bunching right up, so it's quite heavy defence at the moment from Ash. Not able to stretch his legs and break away as you'd want to. There they are, line astern, second, third, fourth and fifth. All taking various lines. Andrew now not sure whether to attack or defend. They are all slowing each other up. Ryan's just got the measure of them at the moment. Oh, it's much later. From a long way back, Ash turns in and just about gives Andrew enough room. Ash was able to unwind the steering though and get back on the power. We almost need the helicopter again to see who's got the run on who. So the nose down the inside, this is a fast right-hander. Oh, Andrew. Andrew just in behind Ash. Ash able to have the legs over the Alpine. Matt's behind taking a narrow line. Andrew's all crossed up. Ash is going wide. Andrew's round. Oh no, so a bit of a tank slapper. We've seen some issues for the Alpine earlier on. So Andy's got to drag himself out the gravel and try and get those places back. That's really, really unfortunate as the leaders head through the final turn. Ash maintaining that second place, but that's promoted Alex Mcgee up to third. So a silver currently holding a podium position, but Matt Johnston not going to want to let him carry on in that position. See the times tick through. Whereas Andrew got to... That's not Andrew, that's Andrew. So Andrew tucks in behind Mark. Mark in the Mercedes just getting through. Some damage on the front end where he just tucked it in the barrier. See that visually on there. tighter line than Mark. Look, he's able to get down the inside. Mark not fighting him too hard. You just don't want them to come together, which they haven't. So Andrew's got it stopped, tucks it through. He's back up to 7th, and he'll now try and chase down the lead AM driver, Chris Monroe. Meanwhile, back down the front, Ryan's got that bit of breathing room, just unwinds the steering. Ash Ash still holds on to 2nd place, but it's now Alex under pressure from Mcgee, who brakes a lot later and gets into the back of Alex. Pushes him a little further wide. That's giving Ash some breathing room. And it's bringing Joe back into contention. So Joe struggling with the front end on that Alpine. So they tuck through the right-hander that Matt's all over the back of the Domino's livery. Okay, so a tight line there for Alex. AJ, the head gasket master, not quite able to get a run on Alex, and he may drop back slightly now. This will give him a couple of minutes breather and just allow him to regroup and go again. Right, now with the fastest lap on his screen, he's been in the 43s. Alex Mcgee currently in the 43s. Change of direction there on the Janetta, quite good. Alex is running the fastest pizza delivery service out there, says Ant in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. The Silver currently running in 3rd overall. He's not letting the classification. He's not letting the classification dictate where he runs. He's all over it on the pace. Just stop squabbling for a bit, and it is allowing them all to improve. Ash Copeland. Sorry, Ash. Look at how Matt closes up. They're taking very, very different lines, but that might leave Matt vulnerable to Joe. Yes, it has. So a good run off the corner there for Joe, because he actually managed to hit his braking mark, but the power of the Merc down the back straight pulls him right back up to the Janetta. The 3 cars power through that right-hander there. Ash is improving quite considerably on his delta, as long as he just gets it stopped through this section. Joe all over the back of Matt. He's right tucked up, trying to get through. He wants that place back. We know Matt was stronger earlier on. Potentially had the best out of those tyres, but Joe all over him. Careful on the track limits. So where are the gaps? Yeah, Ash has almost got a 2nd gap to these guys. Got some breathing room. Actually matched the pace of the leader on that last lap, so that was maintained. These guys a little further off the pace. Then got Chris Monroe and a recovering Wellborn not too far behind him as they went across the start-finish line at 0.8. And visually it looks like it's come down from that a little bit. Let's just see where we feed through. Yeah, 0.6, so he's taken 0.2 out of him even in that first sector, so hopefully Chris doesn't fight him too hard. Allows Andrew to go chasing after the rest of the pack, but they're all in it to race and they're fighting for that overall position, so who knows, it is anyone's race. Dave and his horrendously coloured Aston Martin up to 9th, but Tom Lyons not letting him get away. There he is in that Janetta. Recovering Ross Parker. I think we can say that about all of these guys. So then we've got a recovering Ashwood. You can see the damage on the front end of that car. And then John and Stephen, who have both visited the pit lane. Running at the back of the field, but they'll be straight back in the grid for race 2. As the timer ticks down, we've got about 28 minutes left. We're 12 minutes in. There is Stephen. Still decent points in these championships for 13th and 14th. It does cater for a larger field, so it's still worth Stephen having a good old fight with John. best lap for car number 7, Chris Monroe has done a PB. So back down the front, Ryan is just running around in the 43s, that's 43.6, which is a PB, so fastest lap of the race so far for Ryan, as the fuel burns off but the tyres are still in a good place. Then got Ash with the rest of the pack closing in, but as we saw earlier on, Mcgee crawling all over the back of the Domino's Libera Ginetta of Alex Mcgee, Century Motorsport car. Two 40-minute races this evening, so the guys will be able to learn from this race. Oh, late dive to the inside for Matt. He had a good run through there. Can he keep it to the inside? Alex just giving him enough room, so down into the hairpin we go. Joe's going to want a bit of the action. He nearly gets more than he bargained for. He certainly gets that Alpine stop really good on the brakes, having brake later. And Alex a little offline as they skip across the curbs. Joe looks to the inside. It'll be a dive if he does it. Quite hitting the same apex as Alex, but the oversteer not giving him the run off that turn, so really well done for Matt up into a podium position. Slight gap back to Alex already, but Alex will now try and hold this place from Joe, and Matt will go sprinting after Ash and try and close down that 1.1. It's quite a short first sector here, so we'll be able to go and see just what that gap is doing. Top left of your screen, it's 1.1. Guys across the line as they exit this curve. Yeah, down to a second, so Matt already closing in on Ash. It'll be his turn to attack momentarily. Further back, Andrew Wellborn looks like he's all over the back of Chris Monroe. Oh, he is! Almost literally. So, the power of the Chevy. Andrew fades to the inside, Chris electing not to block it. Potential for a cutback, but Andy gets it stopped completely. It'll give him a good run through the right-hander. Chris won't have anywhere to go. Let's hope Andrew doesn't brake too early. And that wide line from Chris will give him a good run through. Saw him close up on the apex, but Andrew able to accelerate away, now up into 6th place and on the hunt for the fellow Alpine driver. So 9.7 to catch up for Andrew. He spent quite a while in that wall. It's not done yet. Further back, you've got Ross leading Tom and Dave. We've seen Tom make contact with Ross prior. I think Ross has already got through. Excuse me, yawning. It's not boring, I'm just really tired. Ross pushing on in the Porsche, Tom able to get it stopped in the Ginetta, hugs that inside curb, but Ross earlier on the power runs through. Tom actually looks to have a little bit of a pace advantage on Ross at the moment. Tom really hooking up these apexes in comparison to that Porsche, which is the rear engine car pushing on slightly. Ross 1.2 down on his Delta. So we've got these two right into contention. Dave Rose there to pick up some of the pieces if it all goes sideways. So we've seen contact here before. Hopefully they'll just file through. Tom really stopping it on that inside curb. Gets him narrow into this right-hander. It's just let Ross run through slightly. Yeah, it gives Ross the legs down this straight, so he should live to find another day. Accident car 1, that's Joe. So back 10 seconds. No, wasn't enough. We can't go back 30. Sorry, you're going to watch two cars go down back straight now. So it looks like these two did come together a moment ago. Car 6 has had an incident, which is Ash. hit him or if Ash has run wide. Not sure what constitutes. Not able to. No, so it tells me a highlight, but it doesn't let me watch them, unfortunately. So, meanwhile, Ryan's down the front, just doing his own thing. We've seen that from Ryan previously. Very, very quick. Ash holding on to this second place. He said he wasn't confident in race pace. We're not quite halfway, so he's got a lot of pressure to sustain from Mcgee. Jump on board. Yeah, the back of that Porsche looking a little battered. Mcgee now. Drive out of corner for Mercedes, we've seen that before. It looks to be pushing on as reported previously. Comparable pace down the back straight for the two. Let's see how they head through that first right apex. Ash going for a wide sweep into this one, whereas Matt's pushing it wide on the next. Get it back on the throttle to get the nose in. And then right down the gears behind, we've got Mcgee on ascent. Mcgee through on Challoner. Let's yeah, Mcgee down the inside of Joe through the far section. Joe goes for a cutback, but it isn't quite there. Well, those two having a right dice. Alex not giving up. Holds on to fourth place. Let's see what that does on the timer for Andrew. 9 seconds dead, so he is closing in on this little battle pack. And it does appear to be Ryan away and free at the front, maintaining the 44s, whereas well, 44. So yeah, front running pace is ahead of the rest of the field. Face the inside, he's just distracting Ash, or trying to at the moment. Let's see. Unwinds the steering, definitely gets on the power earlier. Give him a good run up the hill. I feel that Ash will cover the inside. And then Matt closes right up, both of them rotating the car. Ash probably unwinding the steering, Matt with the shorter distance. But now comparable runs as a result down the back straight. Fast right-hander, there we go. Tucks into that final part, then get it stopped for the hairpin. Way later on the brakes, he has to avoid turning in. Ash potentially coming off the brakes as he saw Matt arrive into very different approaches. Good rotation for Matt through there. Just keeps tippy-toeing on to the track limit. So, is this going to be a run down to turn one? He's made it pretty clear early on, but not got an overlap. Ash not defending thin air now. He's maintaining his pace and using the speed to stay ahead rather than a defensive drive. They're gapping away from Alex Mcgee, and Joe's dropped off the back of Alex. As you can see, Matt looks to the inside. He's eager, he's keen, but he just doesn't need to be impatient. It'll come to him if he waits. Good run down. Here we go. Nope, that one. There we go. Matt looks, and he looks. Parks it on the apex. Ash gets into the back of him. We'll just do a little replay there. So Matt's got it down the inside, stopped it on the apex. Ash has turned into him where Matt has stopped, so maybe a little offside off to the side, but that is potentially some front end damage for Ash. It was quite an abrupt stop, potentially damage to the back of Matt's car, and it's brought Alex Mcgee into contention as we're down the back straight. Pushing on for Alex. Saw him run wide, so that's Ash with some breathing space now, and it's Joe coming back out. He almost ran down some rails. You can see with some understeer marks from a previous lap. Ash trying to go with Matt now. He doesn't want to drop any further than third. Across the line we go. Matt's now got a 7.2 gap to Ryan. Let's see how Andrew is getting on. There he is, 8.9, so he's only matching the pace of the guys ahead, not able to close in at the moment. Just Monroe not quite keeping with Andrew. So then Mark Saniel, we've got these gaps drawn out. Ross is sustaining the pressure from Tom. Tom keeping it within a second, but ragged over the curbs on the way in. A long way back, so Ross a little more tentative through here, whereas Tom is definitely smashing it across curbs. You saw him just there, and it gives him a really good run into this hairpin, but as we saw earlier on, just not able to do anything with it. Good positive front end of the car. Ross takes a wider sweep, but does that give him the run down this straight? It has done on previous laps, and Tom on the way out of there not in position to attack Ross, so might want to adjust that slightly for the subsequent laps. It might give him a better chance down into that hairpin. We've seen Matty J get a move done there. It is a place that you can move sideways from Tom in the background. So that's going to put him under attack from Dave Rose if he's not careful. He goes from attacking to defending. The car pushing on out onto the marbles. Dave tucked right up behind him, could barely see. Here we go then. So they float the cars through that right-hander, and then tightens up again for this hairpin. Dave getting it stopped well. Even if he has got a strange colour car. Right, through the final turn. Good amount of apex. These guys have found a rhythm, certainly. It's not quite front-running pace. It's about 2 seconds a lap off, but they are still within a second. So the section that Tom is strong in allows him to close up onto Ross, but then this well, will do if you carry that much speed. That might be a warning. Let's close up onto Ross, but then Ross will get a good run off this section. That's also questionable track limits. So where Tom needed to find that pace onto this straight, he heard us. He'll take quite a chunk off that curb. 14 minutes remain. Still plenty of time for some cut track penalties to come into play. They could bump John Walker at 17 seconds up towards Dave. John is lapping in the 45, so he's closer than some of these guys. Closer? Faster. You know what I mean. Smart speaker thought I was saying, but it was just telling me a recipe. Tom really closing up this lap. He's 0.4 up on his delta, 0.5 up on his delta, even if he did have that little excursion. Ross pushing on slightly, so now Tom able to try and attack. Tom very wide on the way in. He's not quite able to go around the outside, but a stronger front end on that Ginetta if a TC wasn't. I don't know if he's got TC. He's hammering curbs, so it won't help with the stability of the car, but it will help to get a run down the inside. Ross turns in. It's going to be the long way round for Ross. He leaves him enough room. Tom gets it stopped, squeezes him on the second part. Tom get a good run through here. He has done previously. Right now, here we go. Ross was compromised on the way in because he had to leave that gap. So Ross covers the inside. That's well and truly covered. He'll move to the right as we head to the braking zone. Tom's even further right. Ross is later on the brakes. Tom has to turn out of it because there's a Porsche on the apex. So good defending there from Ross. He parks and then runs, leaves Tom on the back foot up the hill into the hairpin, braking over the crest through the right-hander. Good tight line there from Tom, but Ross able to get on the power a little bit earlier. All this battling's left Dave Rose right there, so Tom's gone from attacking to defending. There we go, that's a good run from Dave. Can he translate it through the fast section, through the fast right-hander, then tucks in for a slower right-hander? Better apex from Dave, but Tom carries a lot more speed. Now down into the slow hairpin. Hooks it up, a little stop motion in the background there from Dave as he pings about a little bit. Pings about a lot. That's a lot of lag. Sorry if that's on my side, but that's horrendous. Let's leave that battle there for a moment because the guys down the front are all right together and don't look like an angry Pac-Man. Right up the hill. Ryan's maintaining the gap at the front, if anything, stretching the lead out by half a second on the last lap. Well, excuse me. Oh look, more spam in the chat. So back straight, there we go. Matty J running away. Ash Coupland leading Alex Mcgee through the fast right-hander. The slightly slower right-hander. They're all right. No, the slower and the slowest. Joe closing right in on Mcgee. Let's watch it from Joe's point of view. As you can see, Matt's not managed to run far away. He's still just there. Flash of the lights from Joe. Would you expect anything else? A little slower off the turn from Alex. Alex potentially with a run. Let's just watch from on board and see how it unfolds. All these drivers taking a wide sweep in. They come across the curve all the way in. Ash covers from the dive. This will give these guys the switchback. Joe with a kicking curve. That's going to hold him up. Alex now looking, can he get down the inside? No, he's going to turn in later, tries to get off the brake, get the car on the power. Ash with a nice conservative line through the middle of the corner. He doesn't have to work too hard from there, but it kept these guys at bay and gave him a good run down the back straight. Getting towards the back of Ash, he's not able to turn him when he wanted to. Joe front lines the steering and to the right hand side. Alex has used every inch of the track ahead. It's a late turn in for the Porsche. It was that late that there was a Jeanette down the inside. Joe's done very well to keep his nose clean. So you see where that came from. Off board, just closed in a little late on the Porsche. Joe was ready to pounce. Alex pulls off to the inside to let the Porsche back through, and that's brought Wellborn back into contention. So Ash and Alex dropping off the back of that pack, and prime for Andy to pick up a couple more paces. Could potentially get a fourth out of this. Stephen Pole down the back of the field. He's had to do a drive-through. Not sure what's on there. Let's try changing camera sets. Does it help? Don't think it does. Oh, it settles. There you go. Went on board and it settled down. There you go. There's Stephen Pole. Ashwood slightly further ahead. Oh, Stephen sped in this pit lane. Now he's got to stop and go 30. Stephen, what are you doing? Tom Lyons has got ahead of Ross. I feel like we saw that. Maybe we didn't, but Tom's now ahead. So, can he break away from Ross? That is the question. Huge chunky curve from Dave Rose. That'll be pretty quick through there. Fortunate, faster through that first section than Porsche. It's got the manoeuvrability. Not quite getting it stopped for Tom. That will give Ross the advantage now, heading down the back straight. And with toe down here, so this is a really good opportunity. With a narrower line here, shortening that down. Tom a little wide and ragged off the corner. That will give Ross a run. Flash of the lights, he says. Can he do anything with it? So the fast right-hander, there we go. Another fast right-hander, now two slower ones. So get it slowed down for that one, and now down into this hairpin. Tom very good at getting it stopped and across that inside curve. Ross maybe the car pushing on slightly more, but these fast flowing corners suiting the Porsche a little more. Down into the final turn. Ross on the power slightly sooner. These three having a really good battle. Dave's there just in case, like we saw before, any pieces need to be picked up. Amounts, but not quite that second apex for Tom, so this is the section where he's strong. Well, there's Ross. Can he run round the outside? Let's try and get a better view. No, not round the outside. It's really closed up and put the pressure on Tom. Tom parks it on the apex. Sorts the car out for the second. Can Ross get a run this time, I'm asking? So Tom really pushing his luck each time. Yeah, Ross getting maybe a little frustrated. We go then, Ross dives down the inside. Can he get it stopped? Or is there a cutback opportunity? No, there is the cutback. He's left himself open to attack. Tom's oversteered. He comes back on the track, so where he'd got that move done, he's over-rotated, and Ross has made the pass, but Ross is now under attack from Dave Rose. Dave Rose looks to go the whole way round. It's not really a move, a little wiggle for the Aston Martin. And they've got some breathing room off of the front of Tom Lyon's car. Can Dave now go on and attack? So we've got Ryan Ware down the front, just coming out of sector 1. Matty J in sector 1. We've then got Joe Challoner having picked up that place, but Matt's absolutely dropped him. You've then got Ash continuing his defence whilst Wellborn is on his recovery. So Alex will be a little hesitant now as they now come out of sector 1. Alex will not want to make contact with that Porsche again. He's potentially got a penalty coming up for that earlier incident. So Andrew knows that he's potentially already got 5th, but he will want to get through. He wants to go after Ash, and he wants to try and get that 4th place. Joe Challoner wide. He might even go after 3rd if Joe doesn't settle down somewhat. 4 minutes left on the timer. We're absolutely flying through now. Don't worry though, we've got another 40 minutes to do again shortly. So down onto the back straight, the timer ticking down. She's only 1.4 off of Joe. Joe cannot afford any more mistakes now. Oh, Alex closes in. That's the slowest flash of the lights I've seen. Does that leave him open to attack from Andrew? Andrew's right onto the back of him. Let's just watch Alex's car a moment. Is he going to go forwards or is he going to go backwards? This is a frantic last couple of laps. Guys really closing up. Wellborn was really fast on that last lap compared to these guys battling away. Joe's last lap was a 46. The one prior was a 48, so Joe is on the back foot at the moment. Alex Mcgee has to turn out of the corner. Yeah, he had more pace, but not able to get it stopped. Just needs to find that overspeed in the right place. So can Ash come back at Joe? Not really sure what's happening to Joe. Don't know if he's miscalculating his fuel and he's had to back it off or what, but we'll find out afterwards. And Andrew could still potentially end up on the podium. He's looked very strong throughout this race. Joe really looks vulnerable down the front. Andrew fading the car into the corner, not quite hooking the same apex. Ash tries to get it rotated on the power, but looks like he got into some traction control, so they do spread slightly. Andrew slower up and over the rise and fall onto the brakes, gets it hooked up, and Alex Mcgee really fast through there, but having to back off. I don't know if he hadn't got it turned enough or if it was just the fact that Andrew was right there. So it's gone from a defence to an attack. Ash all over the back of the Alpine. Joe's had to take a narrower line as a defensive line. He's braking through that inside. Not the normal line that you'd expect. They'll splay out behind, hairpin away. Looks like we've potentially got another 2 laps, because I don't think it's been called. How far through the lap is Ryan? Potentially enough to just have another lap. There we go then. So 3rd place leads 4th, 5th and 6th. Recovering Wellborn up to 5th. It's been a really good drive. I know Ash and Alex came together. Joe managed to make a break, but Joe has lost a bit of pace more recently. Oh, touch was that? Was that a touch? Let's just go back. Did Alex get into the back of Andrew? He did. He did. Oh no. So Andrew managing to recover that. Right, the leader's on the... Huh? Oh, that's just a delayed message. So this is your final lap. Alex has backed off. Andrew's had a punt and he's trying to go after the guys ahead. And Ash wants that podium position back. He's going to fight until the bitter end. Don't know what's up with Joe. I wonder if it is a fuel issue. He's 0.8 off of his delta and hasn't particularly looked too defensive on this lap. Let's see if the Porsche is able to reel him in down the straight, and by the delta it can. By the end of the straight, the Porsche is all over the back of him, not taking a defensive line this time through. It's a wider line for Joe. He's sideways, got the nose in. Is it going to be a dive for Ash down into the hairpin? No, it's not. And then the drive out looks better for Joe. Can Andrew now convert this anywhere on this lap? It looks like there is one more to go. Joe pushes slightly wide, so these guys will go through and start the final lap. So yeah, Joe's got one more lap to try and defend. Ash is looking to go the long way round. Joe, a normal turn in, but it's given Andrew a look the long way round. He's got to get on the power. So he's got past Ash. Alex Mcgee's going to want a bit, but he's had a few nibbles of a bumper this evening. How's Alex getting on down the inside? He goes for the... Yeah, Ash. Maybe a little bit of a push to pass. Andrew compromised through there. Sideways now. He's absolutely rinsing those tyres. So it did look like Ash gave Andrew a little tap just on the cutback and it bumped him wide. Now Alex is attacking Andrew down into the braking zone. Joe's massively defensive. Mcgee, Andrew leaves him just enough room. So now can Ash attack Joe? Joe's lost all of his pace for some reason. The Porsche trying to go the long way round. He's gone for a cutback and it's worked. So Joe is compromised off of that corner. The run down the back straight, he's going to be towed along, but Andrew a little further back, not able to come through. As Ash back up into a podium position, can he feed it through the last sector? You see the triangle on your map on the right hand side, that's our leader. Oh, Joe's run out of fuel. He can't have any fuel. He's, oh no. Wellborn's wide, he's back on. Alex is diving. Andrew's around the outside, Joe's coming back. The leaders finished the race. Well done, Ryan. You've dominated that one, and well done to Matt. Once you had the battles, let's just watch these three through the final turn. Well done to Ash as well. You've held on to that podium place. Joe's had a nightmare in the last lap. Alex Mcgee gets his silver elbows out and manages to hold on for 4th. Wellborn, the recovery drive, 0.4 off of Mcgee for 5th place. Joe, looking to have run out of fuel or something like that, crosses the line. Chris Monroe top of the novice or rookie or AMs or the red ones. You've then got a gap back to Mark Samuel, who brings it home in 8th. Ross Parker, I think I just heard a firework. Ross Parker, 2nd place in the silvers, having had those earlier battles and some bumps and scrapes in his Porsche, brings it home for 9th. Dave, not quite able to catch Ross after those earlier battles. John, having started from the pit lane, rounds the final turn. You've then got... There goes John. It's then Ash Wotton. A little further back, Tom Lyons has been through the pits. No registers of a stop and go or drive through showing. So Tom's been in strife later on in that race, whilst I was shouting about the close battles down the front. Here comes Ash out of that final turn. Tom's not too far back, just off the back of Ash. The number 19 car rounds the final turn. And then we saw Stephen Poe earlier on, now into the pit lane, having also started from the pit. So a good recovery drive from John. Some opportunities came in for Andrew, and we're going to do it all again. Another 40 minutes. Yeah, it was tense. Ant, seeing the chat there, not sure who was going to end up there, but Ryan, dominant from the start. Got to go again. Johnston was up from 5th. Do we think Joe ran out of fuel? Let's try and grab a word. Joe, was it fuel? Joe? Wonder if he's had to run off. Or he's just shy and doesn't like talking about lack of fuel. Joe, you there? Ah. Well, a fight through to 2nd there, Matt. We just tried to speak to Joe, but I think he's gone down Shell or something. Matt? Anyone? No? Okay. Andy, are you there? Has everyone gone for a post-race comfort break? I can see Andy's mic rustling. Who can we talk to? Yeah, fuel. Sorry, Tom was muted. Oh. Well, he's got enough time to come back. So, Joe, it was fuel.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I realised about halfway through it, I had about 2 litres too little, and it was marginal for the leader crossing the line.
It was indeed, yeah. It caused some confusion.
Yeah, he just caught it and had another lap, and yeah.
It was enough to drop you down. So at least you've got the same race duration now. You can make the appropriate adjustments. But
Yeah,
it was
hopefully we can.
a hell of a battle.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, to be honest. I saved a load of fuel when Alex took Ash out, but yeah, just not enough. Which is unfortunate, but never mind.
Absolutely, yeah, a few bumps and scrapes through that race, but yeah, looked a good one overall. Some nice close gaps. Wellborn 0.4 off the back of Mcgee after the earlier understeer excursion and snap oversteer into the barrier. I said to Andy, the Alpine looks like it pushes on slightly.
Not been too bad. I've got a decent setup, but it's quite oversteery in this track.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's generally setup based as to how it behaves.
Okay, I stand corrected. So, up from 6th again, going to get that podium this time?
Hopefully, yeah, we've got some good pace here. It's just if I get stuck behind cars battling. So yeah, that's the aim, but we'll see.
Good stuff. Right, I'll let you go and do your out lap. Thanks for unmuting.
That's all right.
Cheers, mate.
See you later.
Right then. We let the timer tick down, the cars drop down onto their wheels, everyone applying their setups. We will now get ready for another 40 minutes, and it looks like multiple sunshine. We've actually had a temperature increase and we've lost the cloud, so we'll watch the cars run round and do it all again. All warming the tyres in their various different ways, some electing to weave, some just braking in a straight line, which seems equally as effective. You're sticking with us for this race, and I saw you in the chat earlier on. Let us know if you're staying there for this one. So Ash leading him away. Will Ryan be able to get the jump on him at the start again? Will we see Alex starting further forward, or Matt pushing his boundaries again? Let's jump in the helicopter. Let's get ready to watch it all unfold. Right then, as we head down towards the start line, you see everyone boxing up into their positions. It's Joe Challoner that's a little far back, Oliver Ross, who is quite far back in their boxes. So, can Ash hold on to first place? He's going to... Oh, he brakes slightly earlier. Ryan's gone all the way around the outside of him. He's cleared him already, so Ash keen not to understeer wide. It's Wellborn for third, as Alex Mcgee drops a little further behind Matt Johnston. So Johnston looks to be through past Alex. There we go, let them feed through. Joe's going to want a piece of that action. Tom's gone deep further back and has got into John Walker. John Walker's had a wretched evening. Yeah, so Tom's just parked it and then just kind of unwound the steering into the side of John. That's really unfortunate. Further forward, Joe has maintained that place ahead of Alex. There he is defending down the inside. Ross is going with them. I'd be surprised if John doesn't say goodnight to this. They're all concertina up Alex. A completely different braking point to some of the cars ahead. But as they phase on to the back straight, Ryan's not got as much of a gap as he did before. Ash may be able to go back up at him. Wellborn holding on for third, and then it's Johnston for fourth. So we all know Matty J's race pace is good. It's then Joe Challoner that leads the train of cars. Alex has a bit of understeer. Ross holding good position ahead of Chris Monroe. Stephen Pole not having to go back to the pit lane this time. There he is, he's the start of the next group of cars. He's got Mark, Tom, Dave, Ash and John just holding on to the back of that pack, having had some contact earlier on. Back down the front, Ash is looking to break away with Ryan this time. Ash has found his race pace, potentially made a few tweaks. Wellborn just behind, so they're in pairs at the moment, and then Joe leads that string of cars in the background. Through the left-hander we go, a huge chunk of curb there, wide for Ryan. Looks like the car pushed on. So this is Ash's chance to try and come back and retake that lead. This will allow the cars behind, sorry, not ahead. So can Ash get it stopped? He does. He does really well. The Aston Martin on the compromised line. Just pushing. Oh, but Ash brakes so much earlier. So Ryan's been used to running by himself. Ash has pushed on. Wellborn's coming through. So Ryan not aware of where Ash was going to brake. We head down the back straight. Slight overlap for Wellborn. But that's put Matt on a preferable line. Can Matt go all the way around the outside of Andrew? They're now side by side trying to take that first place. They all filter through and live to fight another day. There's a car pushing wide further back. I think that was Chris Monroe. Back down the front, Andrews tried to... the Porsche is just compromising the line of the cars behind. Andrew's gone in slightly narrow. Will he go wide? No, so he did get it stopped enough. So Ash is at the front and Johnston in third behind Wellborn. Challenger's now got the fastest lap because these four battling. It's given us a hell of a race to watch, but it's allowing the pack to close back in. Ash leads Wellborn. Ryan will want to get back through. He's potentially got a little bit of front end damage on that car, but he'll be able to drive around it. Joe's the right there. Look, you see in your camera shot. Let's see how they feed off this turn. Through the left-hander, comparable amounts of curb. So as Ash leads them away, they're all less than a second apart. It's only the gap to Ross there that you see. That's the first one that's more than a second. Out the hairpin we go. They're all trying to maximise that unwinding the steering and getting on the throttle. Right, now they all brake at various different points. Ryan closes in. He goes for a later apex tucking in, whereas we know some of the guys down the front like to get it stopped sooner and just hug a tighter line throughout. That's first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. There's Ross for seventh. So it's that bunch down the front that they see. Andrews having to take an inside line. Matt tries to carry more speed around the outside. He'll tuck in for a tight line into the hairpin. He's on the power earlier, but not able to get the nose down the inside. That different line allows Ryan to close up onto the back of him. All of this allows Ash down the front to just try and stretch his legs. It was 0.5 through the last sector. I fear that it may be a little bit more as these guys are all trying to battle. Ryan with a nice tight line there. Carrying a good amount of speed. He's got a run on Andrew. Is he going to fade to the inside? It's not an overlap, so he brakes a little earlier than he would if he was running by himself. That puts Ryan up onto the back of him. Wellborn now with the breathing room to go after Ash. Next Mcgee in the lead silver car. He's got Ross not too far behind him, but he's just latching onto these guys. You saw earlier on, he has got the pace to challenge for those positions. Stephen Pohl looking to get past Chris Monroe. We'll just watch if there's any yellow flags further forward. Nothing, so it looks like they've all fed through. Does Stephen attack? Nobody. Breaks in more of a straight line than Chris. Unwinds the steering. So he's closed that gap. He's now got an offset to the outside, but not an overlap. Comparable lines through, releases the brake, closes in slightly. John Walker is up past Ashford and he's now going after Tom Lyons. So where is John? Ah, there's the run for Stephen. He did get the better drive off, so he's got the inside line for the fast right-hander. There you go, 2 by 2. Chris tries to stick it around the outside, they're not yielding yet. Chris runs right to the extremities of the track. He's not giving in. Stephen has got it stopped. Chris later on the brakes. Good job that Stephen was able to get the car turned in. Got John Walker down the inside of Dave Rose, but Dave was on the power slightly earlier. Good drive through there for John, so that's another place made up for that earlier contact. There's John up into 12th. A lot of guys setting PBs. The final turn, we'll see him across the line. That's John into 11th. There he is, so it's Joe Challoner at the moment, fastest lap of the race. The guys down the front all just feeding through. Chasing after the leader. This is rather full on. I hope you guys enjoy watching this back. You're putting on a bit of a show on this one. I know it was at the result of some contact. Ryan not able to break away as he was on previous laps, but they all feed through. Mcgee not far off the back of Andrew. Delayed turning puts Ryan rides on his rear bumper. Over the crest we go in through the braking zone. Andrew closes up on the Porsche, but we know the Porsche hugs a nice tight inside line. A little more apex speed, but not enough to do anything on this time of asking. Ryan's tucked well up on the back of Johnston. Is there going to be a move? He's right with him. He's almost touching Matt. Closes the door. Brakes slightly earlier through that inside line. He'll maintain the inside. Ryan has to get out of it. He was expecting a little more pace through the corner. He had an overspeed on Matt, but nowhere to go with it. That's allowed Andrew just to move forwards. Cleaner from Ryan through the left-hander down into the final turn. They both get it stopped. They are right with each other. Matt's car pushing on slightly more than the Aston Martin in his mirror. Just to give you an idea of how close this is what Ryan, or almost what Ryan will be able to see. This is the onboard from Ryan's car. Big a chunk has to turn out of the corner. He went in blind there. Feeds it through the left-hander earlier on the power. He can see first, but he's running 4th, 5th right in his mirror. Double apex. Let's get it stopped for the first. Good rotation out the Alpine in front, but the Mercedes a little sluggish through there, pushes his way out of that corner. Unwinds onto the straight, and Matt's had a slightly better run as the concertina unfolds down this straight. The concertina back up a wide line in from Ryan, brakes later, far later, doesn't get the turn that he wants. There might be a Joe Challoner on his left. Joe is on his left. Let's go off board. There we go, so the compromise line in. Breaks a couple of metres too short and then goes from attacking to now defending. More spam bot in the chat, we love it. So Porsche leads Alpine, leads Merc, Aston and another Alpine. The 3 cars all running down the front. 3 cars? 6 cars, why not? Let's include the Janetta. Alex Mcgee, currently the fastest lap in 6th, has been able to close in on these guys, and he's done it. On the last lap, 43.3, whereas all the guys ahead are in the 44s, apart from Wellborn, who we saw move forwards. Talking of moving forwards, he wants that lead. It's Ash dictating the pace, but it is causing these guys all to be nose to tail. We're 10 minutes and 30 seconds into this race. We're in for the long haul. Thanks for joining us if you are. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, because this is some full-on racing. Mcgee later on the brakes has to get the car stopped short of hitting the back of Wellborn's car. As we said earlier on, Ryan probably a little more used to running out the front. The first race he broke free and was away. Andrew, good run out of that corner, a little more rotation than the Porsche, meaning he could be on the power. Ash has run a lot of curb on the way out and has broken away from the Alpine slightly. There's damage on the back of that Porsche from that earlier contact. Not quite able to get it stopped, so it's a tight line from Andrew. It's going to close right up. Let's see where the Porsche brakes over the hill, if it is earlier or in his normal place. Yeah, it looks to be the normal place. Andrew had it covered, so they feed it through the right-hander. It's a comparable run for all of them. Line astern, this pack of 6 breaking away. Ross Barker not able to keep up at the moment, 7.5 seconds back. But this ticking time bomb of pace differences and overlaps could go off at any moment. Andrew right up onto the back of the Porsche. It's so nearly contact, but that's given Johnston a better line through the hairpin. Here we go, penultimate corner. Good bit of speed to be carried there from Matt. Andrew a little tentative on the apex. They all concertina back up, then millimetres off each other. Ryan, oh no, Andrew's off. Andrew's off and stopped. Something's happened. What's happened there? He's understeered, but then he's turned to the right. He's got out of the way, so I don't know what's happened for Andrew. He's now trying to get back onto the circuit, so we've lost one of our battle in 6. I'm not sure what's happened to Andrew, but he's down to 11th as he crosses the line. That's really unfortunate for Andrew. Meanwhile, down the front, it's all kicked off. Joe Challoner's now second. Let's 30-second replay. So as we've gone down into turn 1, Ryan has attacked Matt. He's had good pace through there. Into the back of Matt. He's had an overlap. Matt's nearly caught the... Oh, he's done well to hold that. Joe's come round the outside, but Ryan's then had to back out of it. Hi Noah, thanks for joining us. Yeah, that's just YouTube. Welcome in. Well, a rather full-on race so far sees Ryan up into second place after some contact with Matt Johnston. Joe's now under attack, and Andrew Wellborn's had a stop-go at the side of the track for what seems no apparent reason. I'm sure we'll find out later on from Andrew. Now Matt with the cutback. He's allowed Joe back on the track. Joe was a little forceful, gets the cutback. You see the brake lights come on to bring the nose in. Now penultimate left-hander, Matt's got the inside. Joe can't carry the speed. However, the Ginetta of Alex Mcgee all over the back of Joe. Is it going to be a dive into last turn? No, he just feeds through, hoping to get a good exit. Matt pushes on slightly. So Ash survives down the front. 0.7 ahead of Ryan, who will want to close up and try and make it a double win this evening. 25 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. Joe Challoner and Alex Mcgee breaking away. We've got Ross Parker and Stephen Pohl having a good battle further back. I don't want to break away too soon. There we are. So there is Stephen Pohl. That last lap Ross wasn't quite as quick, so Stevens managed to get past Ross on the last lap, and Chris Monroe is going to want some of the action as well. Talking of which, there he is. Here we go then, down that back straight. There's a recovering John Walker. Drive through for Johnston, so he's pushed one too many track limit. So there he is. That's pressure off for Joe. He's currently running in the podium place, having run out of fuel in the last race. Down the back straight we go. He's going to want to go after the guys ahead just in case it all kicks off. Ryan has managed to close in. There's... who's that? I'm desperately trying to catch who's... yeah, so that's Andrew past Dave Rose, so he comes back up. We had 14 cars, we've lost a few cars. We've lost Mark Samuel and we've lost Tom Lyons, so that's unfortunate. So Ash is at the tail end of the field, Ash Wootton, and you've got Ash at the front of the field now. Wellborn's looking for another recovery drive. As we head across the line, 24 minutes lap. Lap 9, 24 minutes left is what I meant to say. So through sector 1. We're in the 44s. Ryan was in the 43s last lap. He's got the pace advantage, but Ash has done very well at parking that Porsche right where he needs it to be. So we feed through the right-hander. Comparable amount to curb, maybe a little more from the Aston, but on the power, the positive perception Porsche heads down towards the hairpin. Just able to gap the Aston Martin in all the right places, gets it stopped, rotated, points it up the hill, whilst the Aston's still washing slightly wide. The Porsche is away and up the road. over the rise and fall, brakes nice and early. We've seen the Porsche hugging the inside line for a long way round, then unwinding the steering right at the last minute, but not pushing out too wide. Johnston with the drive-through, he's going to have to serve that fairly soon. Flash of the lights, hoping to distract the guys ahead, but can't think it's going to do that. We've then got Joe holding off Alex Mcgee. Comparable lap times from both of them, both lower horsepower but lighter cars. You've then got the gap back to Stephen Pole, who leads Ross Parker, Chris Monroe and John Walker. So John primed to make those moves forward. He's done well after that earlier contact. We saw him getting spun by Tom Lyons, who unfortunately is no longer in this race. Then a recovering Wellborn, he stopped by the side of the track. We don't really know why, but I'm sure we'll find out later on what happened to Andrew, who was part of that top 6 battle. Really holding his own and did well to get out of the way of the other drivers despite what happened there. Dave Rose then just behind Andrew will be in for a tow and wanting to go forwards, not quite on the lap times. He is improving. He's in the 46s at the moment, so good on him. Maybe if he had some a more sensible colour scheme on the car, we might be able to keep with Andrew. I blame the wheels, Dave. So back down the front, Ash still got the measure of Ryan at the moment, but Ryan will just be behind in his time. He's a little wide there, but will carry good exit speed. Up the hill we go through the hairpin. Go then through the right-hander. Can we close up at all through the braking? Do Constantina up slightly, but both just got the measure of the track. They've settled in nicely and they know where they're at. Ryan not able to stretch his legs and get the fastest lap this time. Alex still owning that one with a 43.6, but they're running 43.8 at the moment, wide from the Aston. He's trying everything as Johnston heads to the pit lane. This could put him somewhere near Andrew Wellborn. We'll see where he files back out in a moment. So Mcgee through, free to chase after Challoner now. And now 2 by 2 individual battles. Joe is trying to break away and move forwards, but Alex now has no one to defend from. He's purely chasing down Joe. Through the left-hander onto the back straight. Let's see where they feed through. Oh, Johnston has dropped a lot. That's a long old pit lane, so he's coming through. Drop behind. Yeah, he's down behind Andrew, so Andrew just goes through that sector. You saw him a moment ago. And Dave Rose, so Matty J taking a huge chunk of curb there, and he can afford to now because his count has been reset. So there we go, Matty J 5 seconds off the back of Dave Rose, so he's 4 seconds off the Wellborn. So Andrew will be outscoring Matt this evening at the moment. Meanwhile, back down the front, the pressure is still on for Ash. They're having a good old battle. It was 0.2 as they came down the back straight. Wide there. I don't particularly like that camera set. This one's the preferred one, a little wider view, slightly higher up. Out this hairpin we go. Through the left-hander. The bump of the curb. The sausage curb's not unsettling these cars too much. Hooks up a good apex. A little wide. That will be a track limit warning, I'd have thought. Ash doesn't want to do too many of them, but he does live to fight another day. 0.3 now. The pressure is currently relentless from Ryan. Alex Mcgee then up to 3rd. So he's got past Joe to a 30-second rewind. He hasn't... Ah, right, okay, so it's only recently happened. We're able to go back and watch it. So Alex hooking up more of an inside line. Joe a little unsettled on the curbs. He was slow off the corner. Alex faced the inside. Joe gives him room, tries to run it around the outside. And Joe just had to slot in. So Alex just got the measure of Joe through there. Really unfortunate Joe looked to run wide out of the penultimate turn, compromised him into the final. Ash still leading Ryan out front. Joe now pushing track limits. So then Stephen Pole leads Ross Parker, both of them in Porsches. You think of Chris Monroe and John Walker all very close. Andrew with a time advantage of about a second a lap, closing in on that pack. And then Johnston is at times within sight. So where we had a battle pack of 6 cars before down the front, it looks like we've got 4, potentially going to be 5, all coming together fairly soon. Can Andrew pick them off all one by one, or will he get caught up in the dicing? Let's find out. Track temp stable at 32. It's been the same the whole time. We're under halfway to go now. Down through the hairpin. There we go. Let's have another check back down the front. Yeah, it's still the same. So running through the first sector, and they're only 0.2 apart. Andrew's matching the leaders. That middle pack is all in the 45s. Leaders on the 44s. Is Ryan biding his time till later in the race, or is he pushing, doing everything he can to try and get past Ash? We'll see how this unfolds. Very, very comparable at the moment. Joe settled down just behind Alex. As then this train of cars, does John look to attack anytime soon? Let's jump on board with the McLaren driver. Up the hill we go. Had a good drive out of here. It's tucked him right up behind the Chevy. The Chevy's got a good straight line, so Chevy to the a little bit of weave in there from Monroe. The inside, then took the wider line. He's pushed wide. John can then take a more conventional line. Andrew getting all crossed up behind. He's able to do faster lap times. He brakes later. So John's got to have eyes in his mirrors as well as going forward. Might be some benefit to letting Andrew go and not have to defend. And then he can go with him past Chris potentially. But that's not in John's nature. John is going to fight for every position. He's been pushed around tonight quite a bit. We've got Ross down the front chasing after Stephen Pole. Both the silver drivers. So John keep an eye on that battle down the front as well. Andrew's going to have to find the place. He's got a good cutback here. John's compromised and the car's pushing on slightly. Andrew's brake later, so he's down the inside, hopefully not hitting Chris, just out the right of the shot. So there's Andrew through. John can now try and tuck in. McLaren pushing on slightly, the front end not quite where John needs it, but we head down into the braking zone. Will he be able to close back up? Where we saw John was strong. Look at that rotation, hooks that inside curve, points out the hill. Andrew's ticked up on these guys. He's to the inside of Chris Monroe. Chris not able to turn in because Andrew's there. John now with a good run. You hear him on the power. The revs rise, the wheels spin slightly. We're on lap 14. Ross is looking to attack further forward as well. Andrew's gone wide. Chris is going to come back. Andrew's dipped a wheel into the gravel by the looks. Manages to keep ahead, but it's got him compromised the whole way through this section. John's just watching this unfold. Through the last turn, hooks it in on the pass. I'm not quite able to follow Andrew through, but Chris isn't done yet. Chris is going to try and launch in the long long way round. If he could have faded off the brake, he could have potentially had the inside line on Andrew for this left-hander, but not able to do so. John feeds it back through the right-hander. He's closed up nicely on Chris now. We won't fade away for a moment. Top positions are all the same, but the last time of asking. There we go, looks like John can't quite attack on this lap. A little wide out across the curb, so Andrew making moves. He's split that group up a little bit. He's going to now try and head towards Ross Parker. Back down the front. Oh, it's deja vu. Ash doing really well holding on at the front. Every time it seems like that Aston Martin's got a run. Is this going to be the one? So through the fast right-hander, squaring up this next corner. Making a straight line, get it done. It's good rotation on that Porsche. Found the race pace. I think Ryan could lap faster, but he's just not got the clear air to do so. No extra rotation through there. How's Mcgee getting on? He's right on the back of Dave Rose. Oh, he's through. So as they've come through there, Mcgee's made his way through. Covered another place. He's now got 7 seconds to try and get towards John. Challoner with a drive-through. Oh no. So Joe's been having a good old fight with Alex Mcgee, and he's pushed one too many track limit. Now Matt's already had a drive-through, but he's making his progress through the field. So Joe will be absolutely gutted with that one, and it's going to promote Ross up to 5th. It will just be a case of seeing how far Joe drops, and I don't think it's going to be very long before he tries to go and get that stop done. Wellborn's now on the back of Stephen Pole. There he is, fades to the inside, is able to brake later. Stephen round the outside, still trying to get on the power. And that's Wellborn up to 6th. He's now just got to try and get his way past Ross, which will be 5th, and then Joe will pit for the stop, so pit for the drive-through. And that will be Andy back up to 4th, having parked at the side of the track earlier on. John still all over the back of Chris Monroe, not able to make any moves at the moment. But this battle pack all really close together. John closes up, gets on the power, gets it rotated a little cleaner than Chris, but again Chris on the power slightly earlier. Can John get the run? Let's jump on board again. It was interesting last time, so he fades to the inside. Chris covers the inside. Takes a bigger chunk of curve. John's got a better run this time, not as compromised. Backs out slightly earlier, keeping the nose tidy. She's on a little bit, then squares it up for a nice square braking zone. Trail breaks it into the apex. On the power. And the concertina unfolds. You see Andrew down the front. He's over the back of Ross. Andrew able to lap faster, a good second faster than the cars is around. Joe not taking that drive through yet. He's got a little bit of time that he is able to wait before taking it. So does Andrew do what he's done on previous laps? Hold a tighter line, but Ross has just about got the measure. Stephen wants to be there. He knows that's where Andrew's strong. He wants to see if Ross is compromised and see if he can benefit from it. Andrew way faster through the right-hander. It's tucked him right onto the back of Ross through the left. Stephen's using all of the track limits just to be there when Andrew tries to make the pass, just because he wants to pick up the pieces and get past Ross. Ross heavily defending. Stephen down the outside. Andrew fades back to take that wide sweep in. Accident. Car 15 just popped up. Car 15 is Mcgee. So Mcgee back behind Challoner. I don't know what's happened there, but he's now 3 seconds off the back of Joe as he sprints away. I think Joe and Alex both came together because I've got an incident for 15 and 1. So I know we're coming together. We'll leave that for the stewards. Stephen Pole's got a run on Andrew Wellborn. He decides not to do anything with it. Andrew brakes slightly earlier just to square the car up. You see Stephen unsettled by that earlier braking. Ross is wide, Andrew's tighter line, but not able to do anything. Ross on the power and away out of the turn, so it's getting quite frantic. Andrew wants to continue his progress, carry that momentum and get through. Drive through for Stephen Pole. We saw him pushing his luck. Now Ross is wide. So Challoner to the pits. It promotes all these guys up one place, but Stephen Pole now with a drive through as well. That will drop him back down. Can Andrew go the long way round? He's kept his nose there. His nose is still there. That's what I was talking about earlier. Ross not able to get on the power. Oh, it's close. Andrew's left him enough room. He's going to run all the way around the outside, but Ross is still going to have the inside line for this tight right-hander. Andrew not able to cut across. Brakes earlier. Goes for the switchback, but it's a double apex, and Ross has got that unwound and back on the power. So we go again. Ross fighting back. Wellborn has the pace advantage on track, but Ross is defending and equally fighting back as strong as he needs to. Andrew thinks about the inside. Ross fades in. That was a little black line, looked like coming off the front right of Ross. So he understeers. Andrew with a better run up the hill. Stephen's still in the mix, just in the background, but he's got to go through the pits. So we'll see him drop down later on. Andrew, is it going to be a cutback? Yes, it is. There we go. So pushes Ross deep. And there we go, Andrew's through. Stephen with a good run off this corner. He is going to have to go in the pits, but can he do anything? What's Ross going to do? Has he got an attack back at Wellborn, or is he defending from Stephen? Stephen with a huge overspeed looks to the inside, not able to. They now slow it down. They all cascade through. John cascades off into some marbles. Through the hairpin we go. Andrew looks to be clean and clear. Joe Challoner fed back out just behind Dave Rose, so it does drop you towards the back of the pack. We go then through the final turn. Stephen fades to the inside, so he's gone for his drive through. That promotes all of these guys up. Was that a Matty J in the background? I think it was. It was indeed. So while these guys are fighting, Matty J is smashing in 43s. They're all in the 46s, so he's closing in at 3 seconds a lap. It's huge pace advantage for Matty J in some free air. How about Ash down the front? Ash is still holding off Ryan. So as we've got 6 minutes left on the timer, we're going to have a couple more laps, potentially even 3. These guys still battling away for that top spot. Ryan potentially holding a few cards back to play later on in the race, playing the endurance card. Here we go then, down the back straight. Quite a large gap to the rest of the guys battling away further back. We have got Alex in that space, in that gap, after some contact with Joe earlier on, according to the incident logs. We didn't quite get a replay to see that. There you go, the quicker apex speed there for Ryan. Unable to do anything with it against Ash. Through the final turn. 5 minutes will be your timing count. Doesn't look to be anything happening down into turn 1. There you go. So Dave has dropped back behind Joe, and Stephen Pole has come out ahead of Ashburton just by 7 seconds. Right, we'll leave those two to it. You've then got Alex in a bit of free space, just heading through T1. It's then Andrew Wellborn that has passed Ross Parker, having had to stop earlier on by the side of the track. Got going again. There is Ross with Chris not too far behind. Now Matty J has managed to catch up with John. He was into the 44s last lap, so John holding him up by about a second. We'll see if he's able to make the same progress that Wellborn did. 4 minutes to go, and it's certainly a sprint race for Matt now. He's later on the turn in, not able to get the cutback. John's unwound the steering, got onto the power now, running through down the back straight. Matt on the power gets the nose in, where John has to be a little more hesitant to get the car to rotate. Here we go then. Is a Tom Daly about to be committed? Is there going to be a dive down the inside? No, Matt's just keeping his powder dry for a moment. Later turning than John, he'll try and get the drive up the hill, but John's got a nice neat line. Unwinds the steering. They might be dropping back from Chris, but Matt's certainly not able to get through on this time of asking. As they fade over the hill, the late apex. Matty onto the power. John with a little bit of curb, a lot of curb on the exit. Now power of the Mercedes versus the McLaren. Let's see how they get on. Joe Challoner's not far behind. You can see him in the background. That was a 7.7 gap. It's now probably still a 7.7 gap because these guys, 7.8. So these guys slightly pulling away from Joe. Matt with a huge chunk of the curb there. John faced the inside. Not able to get the full rotation. Matt with the slight cut back there. Can he lob it the long way around? A little dab at the brakes to get the nose in. John leaves him room around the outside. Now he's going to have to brake later. John probably not leaving enough room, but it's a good, clean defence. Matt has to go the long way around again. Forces his way back onto the track. He says, "Oi, John, I'm coming through." John well within his rights to force Matt wide, but the door of the Mercedes slightly stronger than the door of the McLaren. John tries to fade it all the way around the outside, not able to get the overlap. A slightly better line than Matt, but Matty J up and through. Now can Chris Monroe get past Ross? How far can Wellborn get before Johnston tries to get through? We've only got 2 minutes and 26 seconds, so it looks like this lap and the remaining lap after that. Yeah, Joe Challoner not quite able to stick with, and there is Dave. Stephen Pohl after that drive-through just coming through sector 1, and it's Ashwin a little further behind in the Mars car. Not quite finding the pace this evening, but a good showing, and he's still here getting good points. Back down the front. Penultimate turn. Good amounts of curb from both. So we're doing 144s. Let's see when they cross the line. So they're 144 as they leave that corner. So it will be a call for the final lap. It didn't do it, but this is your final lap. So Ash now just has the pressure of one more lap. Well-paced fight to the end now. Guys are running in the 44s and keep an eye for any close gaps. Johnston hadn't closed up on Monroe. Let's just have a quick look. He's playing with fire, he's playing with track limits, so they just come onto their final lap now. He's dropped John slightly. Chris is going to go from attacking Ross to defending from Matt. Wellborn's not quite able to close in on Mcgee. There's a fair old gap there, so despite the fact he's stopped, he's done really well. Mcgee, a silver on the podium. Oh, Matt's looking left and right. He's not sure which way to go. He's definitely got the pace advantage. He's well on the power through the left-hander, but it looks like the Camaro is as well. Jump on board for a moment, so he's gone to the inside. Chris couldn't really cover it enough. Gets it stopped. Can he stop it on the apex? You can't really see much from that angle, so they come out the corner together. Matt has to unwind the steering to get the traction on. They're racing up the hill. Chris still with his nose down the inside. He'll brake later than Matt. Matt will fade back off the brake to try and get all the way around the outside. They come really close together. They do touch. Now can John capitalise on this? He's going to want to get past the Camaro. He's going to want to try and follow Matty J through. John looks to the inside. He did. Chris has to cover that one. Can John get down the inside? Sorry, Ash. I believe you've won it. Yeah. Sorry, Ash. Sorry, Ryan. I've missed both of your race wins, but a hard-fought battle to the end, and 0.1 apart at the end is a really good battle. Just been watching these two, so Matty J has been able to get through. Alex Mcgee holds on for a third overall and the first in the silvers. It's then going to be... Oh, Matty J's wide. He's all over the place. Is he going to hold on? He is indeed. So they all file through where they were. Let's do a minute replay. So these guys had a really good fight to the line. Ash just having the measure of Ryan, but Ryan was right with him. Look, a good amount more curb through there. It would have been a do or die move into the final turn, which he just didn't quite have the overlap to do. Through the final turn, kept it clean, and the two of them absolutely nose to tail all race, and that's what 0.1 looks like for your finishers. It was then Alex Mcgee that fed through in third place, like we say, top of the silvers. Really, really well done there. And there you have it. There is your leaderboard. Let's try and grab a quick word with Ash. Ash managed to sustain the pressure and hold on for that win.
I did. I was just fast enough in the right places, I think. He had corner speed on me, but I just had the better pace out the corners and matched him down the straights.
Absolutely, could close in places like you say, but then yeah, well, had the pace where it mattered. The guy's able to close up slightly on overall pace, but not able to find a way through. A couple of knocks and scrapes through that one, but well done. Congratulations on the race win, Ash.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Brilliantly done. Let's find out from Andy. Andy, a coffee break partway through, or?
Oh, don't. I had a software update pop up. It blanked out two of my it blanked out two of my screens and then came up with the pop up. That's why I suddenly was like, oh crap, I can't see anything. Like pull off to the side, and then yeah, like cancelled that and had to come back on. So yeah, I'm a bit annoyed about that.
But still a fantastic recovery drive and some really good passes coming back through the field.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was yeah, trying to get through that train that was behind Steve, and when I come up to it, I was like, oh, they're all faster cars than the Alpine as well. So I was hoping. I think a couple of me moves a couple times. I'm maybe a little late on the brakes, but that's all I can do in that car. It gets so out dragged on the straights. You've kind of just got to send it and hope the other guy sees you.
And send it you did. It was a really good race to watch. Some really good battles, and a first second were 0.1 apart, so a really good battle, even if I did slightly miss the last few corners of their battle. But we watched it on replay, so we got it. Good
That's
stuff.
good.
Right, thank you very much, Andy. We will catch you
Yeah.
next week.
Thanks again, Tom.
What software was it?
It's IBM Rapport or something. It's to do with Microsoft Edge, which I don't even use, so I don't even know why it's. So yeah.
One for the delete list. Good stuff. Cheers, Andy.
Yeah. Cheers.
Right then, thank you very much for joining me in the stream. I saw a couple of new names coming in. I saw a lot of spam, but I did see consistently throughout Ant. So thank you very much, Ant, and I see the good commentary, Tom, in there. So glad you enjoyed it. Glad we brought you some entertainment. We will see you all again next week for the final round of the Slip and Grip GT4 Championship. Thank you very much, and good night.